Let's get into this story because y'all don't know what this is. Dan Le Batard, Stephen A. Smith's problem is not actually with me. It's what Jemele Hill said. Man, talking about knowing everybody in this one. It's going to be fun. It's no secret, all right. Le Batard, Stephen A. Smith, they got their differences. They do it respectfully, but they got their differences. You can smell it, you can hear it, you can tell. So Le Batard caused chaos in the sports media world earlier this year. Remember we covered that story when he bluntly told Stephen A. Smith he hates what First Take hosts him and Skip Bayless have done to sports television. After appearing stunned by the criticism, we know Stephen A. fired back, asking Le Batard, "What about you?" Remember that? That was hilarious. So they remain friendly. They still get some love going on. But at the same time, it ain't over. They keep talking at each other, right? So he responded to this Smith quote from last week. This is what Stephen A. was talking about. What his ass been doing? Accounting? Didn't he have highly questionable? Was our daddy on the show with us? That was you. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about your comfort. You was on the show just looking at your father saying hi and giving him a hug and kiss. You were debating. That's what you were doing. It amazes me how somebody like a Dan Le Batard will sit up there and lament the state of affairs in the industry you're participating in. You're sitting on the air. I don't know how long ago it was with Jemele Hill talking about it's a great, great thing you left. Really? Okay, probably is. So you can smell the subtle shots that's in there, if not the direct shots that are in there, right? So Dan laughed off the quote as saying that basically, Stephen A., you must not watch my show because it wasn't a debate show. He's like, Stephen A. Smith doesn't have time. He's too busy talking all over the rest of the network to watch any of what's happening on shows elsewhere on the network. Basically, you must have took a glimpse of the show and didn't really watch it or dive into it because it wasn't a debate show, and it really wasn't. It was like take comedy, family. It was like some bizarro world stuff, but it wasn't like let's go out there and debate. So Le Batard took issue with another quote that he didn't think was fair criticism. He's like, I got in trouble all the time because I was always saying at ESPN microphones while taking ESPN's money that ESPN should be covered the way it covers others. And it's a real blind spot at the network that it doesn't. Yes, that is facts. I used to sit there and like, damn, Le Batard don't care about working where he's working at. Le Batard's going in on home team. Yes, he was. I remember that. But I understand why he would arrive at this particular viewpoint. That part about this that was, to me, in the shadows and more objectionable than some of the stuff we're talking about is his problem is not actually with me. It's with what Jemele Hill said on our platform. This is more complicated because I'm a much easier target for him to put a name on than going after the black female, that he also respects, that he doesn't want to start that back and forth when it's easier to just frame it under me when I didn't say the thing he objected to. Le Batard believes that Smith took an issue with the phrase they wanted black faces, they didn't necessarily want black voices. And that was from Jemele Hill a couple years ago. All right, so there's a whole long quote about that. But Jemele Hill basically said that she took an L when she was hosting SportsCenter and her time at ESPN because she was out there being very, very intentional about what she was talking about. And they were reacting and said that people didn't want to hear political talk or racial talk, etc., right? So she ends up saying that exact quote. They wanted black faces. They didn't necessarily want black voices. And that's how it came off, right? And so because of that, we wound up paying the price, end quote, for her. All right, so Le Batard finally chimes in on this before I give y'all all that y'all need to button this up. He's like, look, I understand I'm getting bothered by that insult, but your problem isn't with me. You should take that up with her publicly if the objection is, I don't like being told that I'm somebody who's kept by the company. Whew. Even as you write in your book that you wake up every day thinking of ways to make money for the company and you're the one they throw out there when Dana White gets in trouble and they got all sorts of conflict of interest and they need somebody to get a voice to something. And you talk about how you're friends with Dana White. Wow, you're cover. Your objection is not actually with me, and I would love to discuss this with him in a form that wasn't, let's see who can win an argument. Let's debate. Let's just talk like human beings. Okay, now, everybody's dancing around this and not really dancing like I'm scared. Dancing like, yo, respect, but do you want to go here, right? So between Le Batard and Stephen A. and Jamel Hill's comment, we are now starting to form this narrative that we already had, or at least I've seen out there and I've heard, that Stephen A. gets triggered. Everyone has their triggers, but his trigger is when you start looking and peeking and want to see his black card. Remember that? Remember T.O. coming on the show? And how T.O. got him all messed up, all ruffled up because of what happened. And a lot of the contention that we perceive from Stephen A. and Max Kellerman really hit its apex in that moment. From there, it just felt different. I don't know if it was different, but it sure looked different, correct? So that black card wonder, I don't know Stephen A. deeply like that. I know he's from Queens. Outside of that, and he played basketball growing up. That's it. Everything else is what he does now. So I don't know why that happened, because I know with Max, the black card, all of a sudden that became an issue because I've worked with Max, as y'all know. You work with Max, and if Max is really Max, free Max, like the dude I know Max, oh, he gonna know what the culture knows. He gonna know whatever that's gonna make people say, oh, we gonna invite him. Yeah, he coming to the cookout. For real. And then if you black with him, they gonna look at you like, oh, Max is harder than you. Max is realer than you. Whatever you gonna say that Max is more down than you. That happens. It happened to me. And I'm from LA. Max was from Watts. He made that up, but that was funny. And I'm from Compton, for real. So it was like, oh man, Max from Watts and you from Compton, and we used to have this little fun with it. But it ain't always funny if that's your trigger. And like Stephen A. has shown before with the T.O. comments, and now potentially these Jamel Hill comments, he don't play that. Homie don't play that. Now, her point is interesting because, and I know Jamel, obviously, and we disagree a whole lot. A whole lot. I'm surprised we still really know homies like that because we be disagreeing publicly too. But here's the thing. She has a point of saying this. Like, I'm on campus, ESPN campus. I'm the activist. I'm putting it out there. I'm letting you know I'm walking that walk and talking that talk. And she, in that comment, without saying his name, but now we start narrowing it down, who you talking about? Talking about Damian Woody? Like, stop playing. You know what you're talking about. Black voices for cover, etc. And it's like that dynamic on campus. Y'all know it. We all been to college, right? Or at least some campus forum, where it's like the ones who are sitting there, they're the activists, the hunger strikers, right? The ones who are out there protesting. And then you got some people in the same predicament, let's say black people in this one, and they just chilling. I'm the star athlete. I'm going to class. Oh, you got issues with this campus? Oh, really? Well, you should be with me, or you should be me, right? And it's that kind of situation. So when you see Le Batard sitting there like, hey, bro, do not displace that aggression. Do not bring that smoke to me. Or bring the smoke to me. Let's talk through it. But while we talking through it, let's talk about all of it. And that includes other people. And I'm like, damn, if this come to a head, it's going to be something. Now, I just know all of these situations for what they are. I know the dynamic Stephen A. to Max. I know if you bring on Max Kellerman to your show and you're like, you know what? I'm looking forward to working with you because we come from different worlds. And, you know, I would love for you to give me the white male perspective. Max might look back at you and be like, what's that? I'm telling y'all, it's a whole different animal over there. It's hilarious. Now, and that's not a problem in itself, except if somebody like T.O., Mr. T.O. Pom-Pom himself come on there and check you like that, then you got real problems. I don't want any problems with any of y'all, but you know, truth, wow, that truth gonna set me free. But then Skip sits there all that time not getting into this with Stephen A., right? Isn't that interesting? Then Stephen A. gets Max, and all of a sudden, kaboom, we got some problems. How come that didn't work out? Some of these undertones are a part of that. So get triggered by T.O., and all of a sudden Dan is like, nah, dog, Jamel calling you out, and you ain't said nothing in 2 years? Woo! And now you're going to be over here passive-aggressive or displace your aggression at me? We got to talk. Not that we have problems. We got to talk. So I'm asking y'all think this is personal, this beef is real, or you think it's just deflection and using Jamel Hill in an argument? Be careful how y'all respond to this. And should Stephen A. talk to Le Batard about this and they should iron out the issues. That's how I like to do it. Just talk through it, man. Ain't nobody scared of nobody. But at the same time, people do have brands to protect. So who knows if we'll ever make this happen.